So, I saw the video. A seasoned welder took aim at the xTool MetalFab and at the creators like me, saying our welds were staged, our reviews were fake, and we didn't know what we were talking about.
Recently, a group of influencers got to share their experience with laser welding, where everything was already set up and provided for them, and all they had to do was read the talking points provided by the manufacturer and act like they knew what they were talking about.
This self-proclaimed expert had the audacity to call us the influencers from his pedestal of 660,000 subscribers, all piled into this video with so many cheesy effects and forced internet memes that even Mr. Beast would cringe. According to him, laser welding is unreliable, overhyped, and our influencer content is just glorified marketing.
My honest opinion is this machine, and others like it, need to stay with the fake influencers. But this has been my experience, and my integrity is not for sale.
But here's the part that doesn't sit right. I was in that demo room. I had only ever MIG welded a handful of times before in my life, and I still laid down a single-sided weld that held up under stress way better than what he was willing to share with his audience. So either I'm the most naturally gifted welder of all time, or maybe he didn't take the time to actually learn how to use the tool. I noticed something else about our expert welder friend. I went to check out his other videos because I couldn't believe someone with his skill set was struggling this much with the MetalFab. It just didn't add up. So I sorted his videos by most popular, and what do you know? His top performing video has a very familiar theme. 3 years ago, he published a video titled Busting Fake Internet Welds, and it racked up 8.8 million views. The title and thumbnail are eerily similar to his video on the MetalFab. It's almost like this whole thing was premeditated. Like he knew the fake weld angle would get views, and he just needed a new target. He even shared how much money he makes from videos like these. His 5.5 million view video earned $9,909 from AdSense. That means his busting series has likely brought in over $15,000. So maybe, just maybe, he wasn't aiming for a fair review here. Maybe he was trying to revive that old angle and chase a few more million views. But hey, as he says,
my integrity is not for sale.
I guess as long as YouTube's paying the bills, integrity becomes whatever gets you the most clicks. The video kicks off with a joke. Welders versus influencers. Fair enough, I get it. But then it takes a turn. He mocks weld strength test, says we were spoon-fed our setups, criticizes how we stand in the reflection zone while welding non-reflective metals, and calls our content fake reviews. He shows clips of welds breaking, the machine overheating, the wire feed failing, and somehow all of that is supposed to prove that our results were dishonest. But here's the thing. That wasn't my experience. Not even close. And I'm not just here to defend xTool. I'm here to defend honest creators who actually used the machine and showed real results. So let me show you exactly what I did, how I did it, and what happened next. At the xTool demo room, no one handed me a script. No one fed me lines. I wasn't told what to say, and I definitely wasn't told how to weld. What I got was simple. A quick safety briefing, a laser welder, some scrap metal, and a chance to try it out. As someone with very little welding experience, I went into it with no expectations and no muscle memory. I gave it my best shot. I made sure I had a good angle and pulled the trigger. The wire feeder automatically pushed my hand and gun back at a consistent rate. Of course, my wire got stuck at the end, but as you all know, I didn't try to hide that. I shared that me and some others still needed work on how to end the weld without getting stuck. But regardless, I ended up with a weld that looked clean and held strong. Apparently, throwing this piece onto the ground and putting over 190 pounds of weight onto the joint wasn't good enough for our expert. But we are in luck. I brought my piece home. So in this video, I will torture test this single weld even more and let you all decide for yourselves, rather than being told what you should think by an expert. Now let's get this straight. Laser welding is not MIG, it's not TIG, and it's a completely different process with its own learning curve. You're dealing with a focused beam of light, optical alignment, precision feeding, and incredibly tight tolerances. If you walk in expecting it to behave like arc welding, you're going to struggle. But if you take a fresh approach and learn the tool for what it is, it's actually very intuitive. In fact, not having much traditional welding experience may have helped me. I didn't fight the tool, I just let it do what it was designed to do. Watching his review, I saw a lot of failure points. The wire feed stopping mid-weld, laser beams hitting his glove and most likely injuring himself, since he was so proud of himself for letting us know that lasers reflect off of mirrored finishes. How could he possibly take the blame for shooting himself in the hand? And there was poor consistency in his techniques. These aren't signs of a faulty machine. They're signs of improper setup or trying to force the tool to behave like something it isn't. Laser welding requires a clean lens, proper grounding, the right wire speed, power settings, and focal length. Skipping any of those, yeah, your results are going to suffer. That's not fake, that's just the facts. Now here's something I want to be completely transparent about. After a lot of repeated bending and stress testing, I did get my weld to break. There we go. All right. After all of that, yes, it did break off. But when it did, I noticed something important. There was clearly weld material still fused to both pieces of metal. That means the weld bonded properly. It wasn't a cold weld or a surface tack. It was real fusion. And here's the bigger truth. No matter what process you use, MIG, TIG, laser, every weld has a breaking point, especially when you bend a rigid weld joint over and over in the same spot. They're not made to flex like hinges. This kind of test would have likely caused similar breaks even in traditional welds, especially with a single-sided pass on thinner material. And this is exactly why we didn't see our professional welder doing any side-by-side stress testing. Even though he has all the tools to run those comparisons, it didn't fit the narrative that he was building. So instead of showing how his welds held up under similar conditions, we never saw that part. And let's not forget, he also showed off what he called a structural weld, where he says he laid down 49 passes over the course of an hour. But strangely, not even a single second showing that piece after he finished. No hammer strikes, no bends, no pressure. Is it possible we didn't see that test because it didn't break? Because if it failed like the others, we would have definitely seen it. But if it held up, well, that wouldn't support the "this machine is trash" storyline that he's trying to feed to his audience. And that's why we see him talking about this structural weld, which is clearly on a piece of steel. Then right after, he cuts to a shot of a piece of aluminum being torn apart. Now I'd say that's a pretty bold move coming from somebody who titled their video "Busting Fake Laser Welder Reviews." I wonder who's really doing the influencing here. I've worked with all kinds of machines, lasers, 3D printers, CNC routers, and not one of them worked flawlessly out of the box. That's normal. That's expected. But that doesn't make the tool worthless. It just means you have to take the time to learn how to use it properly. Laser welding is no different. You can't just slap metal together and expect perfection. But if you follow the process, you'll be surprised how good your results can be, even as a complete beginner. I'm not saying laser welding is perfect. I'm not saying it replaces traditional methods. What I'm saying is this: laser welding is different. It's powerful, and it works if you use it the right way. I don't fake my reviews. I wasn't paid to lie, and I didn't get perfect results every time. But when I did, I showed them. And when things didn't go right, I showed that too. That's how you build trust. Don't take my word for it. And definitely don't base your decision solely on what anyone says on the internet. Not me, and definitely not this guy. Because the truth is, these machines aren't hype. They're tools. And the best way to know if they're right for you is to try them for yourself. And here's the good news. xTool has free demo rooms around the country where you can get your hands-on experience with any of their machines, including the MetalFab welder like you saw me using. No sales pressure, no commitments. Just you, the tech, and the owner of those machines. Test it, weld with it, break stuff if you want, then decide if it's worth it. And if you do end up loving it, like I did, or any of their other machines, right now is the best time to buy. xTool is running their biggest sale of the year with major discounts and bundle deals. I'll drop a link below with all the info for the free demo room signups and the most current sales. With that, I'm Chad from Chad's Custom Creations. Be encouraged, stay inspired, and keep on creating.